Hello, my DIY friends. It is Tyler back again from Rehab to Fab Designs, and today we are going to be making over this cute little telephone table that I picked up at a Habitat for Humanity store. It was in remarkably good shape, which made my job easy because that meant I had to do no repairs. So all I needed to do was scuff sand this baby and get it primed and ready for some paint. I mean, there were no scratches, there were no dents, no dings, not a mar in the finish, and it's actually made out of maple, according to the stamp on the inside of the drawer, so I really got lucky with this piece. So, to get started with it, like I said, I'm going to give it a nice scuff sand, and for that, I am just using a piece of sandpaper wrapped around a sanding sponge, and that just gives me something to hold on to. So, I scuff sanded this whole piece lightly, just basically to take off the shiny finish on it, the factory finish, and the reason we do that is it just helps our paint adhere properly. Once the whole piece was scuff sanded, it was time to come back and clean it. For cleaning my pieces, I always use White Lightning from Dixie Belle. It comes in granule form, and you'll simply mix it up with some hot water to dissolve it, shake it up really well, and you can put it in a container so that you can use it in the future. Spray it on, wipe it back, and do this until your piece is completely clean. Once it's dry, we're going to come in and prime it, and for that I'm using bonding boss. The reason I chose to do this is because it will help prevent bleed through from any tannins that could come through from your natural wood, because once we sand it, we're opening up the grain a little bit, and this can cause the tannins to leak through. So if you're not scuff sanding a piece, then you don't necessarily have to worry about it unless it's a slick surface, but if you do sand, it will open up that grain, and I recommend priming it for that. And again, we're using bonding boss. Not only does it prevent those tannins from bleeding through and blocking stains, it will also help block odors. If you have a piece that is kind of musty smelling from being kind of locked up in a house, if it's an old piece of furniture, it can also help block the smell of tobacco if you happen to pick up a piece that was in a smoker's home. On top of that, it also is a combination product, so it replaced Slick Stick from Dixie Belle, so it also has bonding properties in it, so it will help your paint stick, so you can use it on items like plastic or even glass or any other slick surface. Enough of the sciencey stuff. Now it's time for the fun part. We are going to add some paint. For this piece, I am using Silk all-in-one mineral paint from Dixie Belle, and I am using this gorgeous color called Everglades. I have used this previously on a little bench seat, and I think I'm going to pair these two together when I try to sell them. But look at this color. Oh my God, it is so gorgeous. I know that a lot of people don't like to use color in their home, but I think for small pieces like this, just to have a little accent piece for a pop of color in a neutral room, I think they speak volumes. So I love to do smaller pieces like this in these bright and vibrant colors. The Silk line from Dixie Belle is a great choice for furniture, but also for cabinets. It has its own built-in primer. It also has a built-in top coat, so when you're done, you truly can be done. They do offer a top coat that you can use to finish the piece up with, but it does have built-in properties, so you can skip those steps if you want to. It does dry in a beautiful matte finish. It will look it will have a high sheen to it as you're painting it when it's wet, but once it's dry, it has a beautiful matte finish, and it also has like a self-leveling attribute to it, so that it just kind of smooths and evens itself out, which again is really good for furniture and cabinets. It also has really good coverage, as you can see here, after just one coat. As I said before, this piece is actually a vintage telephone table, so I thought about removing that top trim right there. When I picked the piece up, I wondered if I should maybe remove it. Also, that paneling on the back right there underneath the top shelf, but I feel like it really adds to the character of it and really gives it its vintage look, and I love vintage pieces, so I just left it as is and went with it. And I think that this piece and putting a nice color on it and the other designs that I have in mind are really going to make this piece stand out. So I did one coat of the Silk paint and allowed that to dry overnight. I wanted to make sure it was nice and done before I started to decorate it, and then I came back and put a second coat all over the piece. I allowed that second coat to dry completely, again overnight, and next up, the really fun part where I get to decorate it. Alright, so I'm going to be putting a transfer on this. This is called Savi's Bouquet. They come with a little wooden rubbing stick, and if you've never used them before, they're super cool. It's basically kind of like a rub-on tattoo. It has a design that is printed on this clear kind of opaque clear sheet here, and then it has a backing on it, and you simply peel the back off, and then you'll line up your design where you want it on your piece. And then we're just going to use this rubbing stick that comes with it to rub the image onto the piece of furniture. Let's get started. So this transfer actually comes, it's one large design, but it's cut into 4 separate pieces for packaging. And if you see here, I have chosen to line it up so that the free edge where the design has the stems and the leaves and stuff sticking out on the left side that you see there is kind of the free open piece, if you will, and the side on the right is actually the edge that would line up with the other piece of the transfer to make the whole top portion of the design. The reason I wanted to do this is because I chose the flat edge of the back of this table to line up with the flat side that lines up with the other portion of the design, if that makes any kind of sense. If I had flipped it and put the other side on here, then I would have just had kind of a dead stop in the design on the left side of the table, and it wouldn't have looked right. I hope that makes sense. But so I'm using one side of the design, the top left portion, to put on this side of the table, and then I will put the opposite part of the transfer on the other side. So then you just have this beautiful design peeking out on the sides of the table, which gives it so much added interest. And I am just in love with this particular transfer with this color paint. Transfers are a super easy way to really add a little something to your work, and they're so easy to use. So as I said, you will simply place your design on your project, use the stick that comes with it, and rub the design onto the piece. And you'll want to gently peel the top off as you're rubbing it until you get the design completely in place. And I mean, just look at that. How gorgeous is it? I went ahead and used the other 2 pieces of this transfer to put on the flat portion of the table here and on the back side there underneath that shelf. And I just think that this piece ended up so pretty, you guys. I'm so in love with it. I wish I had somewhere to put it in my house, but I will enjoy looking at it until it sells and finds a new home for sure. Here it is, all finished up in all its glory. I love this combination of this paint color with this transfer. Please, as always, be sure and follow along with Rehab to Fab Designs, as well as the Dixie Belle Paint Company YouTube channel. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below, and we appreciate you watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on that bell for notifications.